Black and Tan Day here at Your Auto Advocate.
Yeah, I look too fancy for our normal audience.
Yeah, well, I'm still holding out hope that Eddie Bauer is going to send me some new T-shirts.
Yeah, just as an update there, in case you didn't watch the last video, I will do a little flashback.
By the way, I wear nothing but Eddie Bauer T-shirts. Do you think we should send them an invoice?
It was just on the screen. We have not heard back from Eddie Bauer. So if you work at Eddie Bauer, contact us, please.
Yes, please, because all I wear are Eddie Bauer washed legend, whatever the hell T-shirts they are, V-neck and crew neck, and I love them. So white, blue, black, they're my favorite colors.
As far as we're concerned, you owe us money at this point.
Well, every video has me wearing one of your T-shirts.
Alright, so title of today's video and what we're talking about is we had some new results, got them printed out right here, from one of the newest publicly traded automotive retailers. They are called Shift.
Yes. And why are they called Shift? I think it's for two reasons. You want my take on it? Because they're trying to shift the dynamics of how cars are sold in America today. And so to say shift is, you think about a car with a manual transmission, but more importantly, they're shifting the way cars are sold.
Shift, you now also owe us money. So there you go.
Yes, you do. You'll get the invoice shortly.
So they're a publicly traded company now.
Yes, they are.
And they're similar to Carvana. They're similar to Vroom. They're similar to even like a CarMax. They're only used cars, and they're one price selling. And what was really interesting is they just reported their second quarter results, and what was really telling was they had this incredible increase in what they call GPU.
Gross per unit.
Gross profit per unit.
Yes.
Okay. So they had a 41% increase in their gross profit per unit. And I thought what we would do here, Dad, is we could talk a little bit about kind of what we would see that allowed an organization like Shift that only sold 22 or 2,300 cars in the month of August, or throughout the second quarter, to experience a 41% increase in gross profit, because what ended up happening is they sold those 2,200 or 2,300 cars, and they made like $4 million off of them in profit, in just straight up profit. And so if you could break down for us, where's the money even coming from in this type of environment? We've got the front end of the deal, back end of the deal, and why would we have seen such high profit margins?
But all they're talking about is the front end of the deal.
Yeah.
Gross profit per unit is just the gross profit on the sale of the car, not including any back-end profit, not including any money made in finance, not including any money made sold in dent and ding repair, tire and wheel, extended warranties.
So break this down, hit it home. Gross is made up from price I sold it for versus price it cost me?
Gross is made up of price that I paid for it, plus reconditioning and all my expenses that are built into that number, okay? And you subtract that from whatever the selling price was. And on average, after that, they were making $2,148 per pre-owned car sold.
That is insane.
That's a lot of money. Now, the average today, and when I say the average today, this is through the end of July. The average today, because prices have gone up quite a bit in the last few months.
End of July or end of August?
Maybe it was the end of August.
Gotcha.
The average used car gross profit today is slightly more than $2,000.
Wow.
But that's up about $400 over what it was a year ago at the same time. So,
do you remember where that data was from? Was that Manheim or Cox?
I forget.
We read so much stuff.
Yeah, and
I'll find it and I'll link to it down below.
And truth be told, I waste so much ink and so much paper on my printer, printing out all these various reports. And then I conflate all the information, so I might appear as if I actually know what I'm talking about, but I don't. But what I was going to say is, if the normal gross profit on a pre-owned car is somewhere around $1,500 to $1,600, at least it was, to be at $2,148, to be 25% higher than what your competitors are, I mean that means you're either really acquiring the car at a really good price.
Which was part of what they attributed to, which
Okay.
we'll talk about, yeah.
And this is one that Zach just sprung on me, so I haven't even had a chance to read it yet. So, because one of the things I've said in many other videos is on used cars, you make your money when you buy it as a used car dealer. And what I mean by that is you have to be cognizant of how much you're actually paying for a car in relation to what you think you can retail it for.
Yeah.
So they did a real good job of buying good cars at a relatively inexpensive price. The other thing that could contribute to this is that perhaps the cars they bought were in better shape than what they had anticipated, and they didn't require quite as much reconditioning as other cars might have, because obviously reconditioning costs cut into your gross profit. So those are a couple areas where they could have saved money. Now, I'm not going to suggest, because I don't think as a publicly traded company that they would do this. I don't think they would look to not do the reconditioning required or necessary, because, well, being publicly traded means that they're going to want people to say good things about them so that their business model can grow.
And that's a core tenet of this whole one-stop shop, environment, the Carvana, the shift, the room.
Yes.
Is we have this inspection that we're going to do for you. You don't even have to test drive the thing because we've made sure it's so good, which we've done plenty of videos talking about the pros and cons of that.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I don't think, and this is in no way us suggesting that that's what they are doing.
No,
I think
my guess would be that they're spending whatever money it takes to make sure that the car's in good condition when they ultimately retail it to their
But the reason that the gross
customer.
profit was so high was because they had very conservative. So they sold less cars this second quarter than they did last second quarter, which is actually very surprising because we have, and we've talked about this in other videos, used car sales were up 4% year over year.
Yes, but the second quarter would comprise what?
June, July, August.
Okay. In June, July, and August, this business started really picking up again. It's when we started seeing it at the beginning of June.
Yeah.
Is when we saw
Right,
wholesale
January,
prices.
February, March is the first quarter.
Yeah.
April, May, June.
Is the second quarter. So that's why the second quarter is April, May, June, and that's why they sold less cars, because then you were in the beginning throes of the COVID pandemic, especially in April. In May, probably by the middle of May, is when most dealerships were figuring out how to do some form of retail other than just online. June, more and more stores were open for customers to actually come in. So the reason they sold less cars this second quarter than the previous year was because of COVID. Now, I would suspect that their third quarter is going to be huge compared to last year because of the shortages of used cars, the increase in used car sales, because that 4% increase in sales
was August.
So
yeah, and it is important. I highlighted it here. So their CFO, C-suite, important. Cindy Hanford said, "We are making decisions to optimize our business and will continue investing to drive long-term growth. We expect supply and demand in the industry to begin to normalize, and as such, we anticipate accelerated revenue growth of over 70% year over year into the second half of 2020, with adjusted gross profit margin in the mid to high single digits for the second half of 2020. So to your point, they had these second quarter results, and obviously they just experienced August, and they're saying revenues are actually going to be up 70% year over year. So yeah, I was a bit mistaken in the sense that sure, their second quarter sales were down because of COVID.
Yes.
And then I bet you when they report third quarter,
they're going to be sky high.
They're going to be sky high.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's just this recurring theme if you watch our videos. I mean, we sound the same, I'm sure, in each of them. Fortunately, I change shirts. You don't.
He still sounds like Zach, and I still sound like Ray. But the things that we're saying will sound pretty similar to what we said in the last video
and it's just
the video
another,
before that.
And it's another example. I mean, this is a publicly traded company now that's coming out and saying, "Hey, we're making a killing." And thank you for making the distinction between gross and total.
Yes.
Because if you are then buying an extended warranty through Shift, they're making even more money.
They're making, I mean,
finance through Shift. They're making it.
When they talk about GPU, that's gross per unit. Okay, and that's just front end gross.
You know what I love about this?
No.
Every video, I learn something too.
Well, that's cool. Every video, I remember something, and I try to share it. Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Well, it's the least I can do.
Yeah, well, I like it.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm here to help.
All right, Pops, I think we're good.
Okie doke. Thanks, Zach.
All right, Eddie Bauer, we're going to call you now.
Yeah, please. I need some shirts.